All right. Let's try this again.
I'd like to call to order the March 28th Economic Development Committee meeting.
All right, and the next item is approval of the minutes from the February 28th regular meeting. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
Do we need to call roll first?
Oh, yes, sorry. Alicia Neff,
Here.
Adam Royds,
Present.
Eric Brown,
Present.
Steve Langley, Kelly Kabilski is absent with prior notice. Carol Noker is absent with prior notice. Erica Winston. Here. And then Marv Atkins.
Here.
Thank you. All right, now, attached in your packet are the minutes from the February 28th regular meeting. I hope you all had a chance to review them.
I did, yes.
And then we'll just need a motion.
I move to approve the minutes as distributed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, reports, Erica?
New members since our last EDC meeting is Citizens for Dan Hartman, Scott Pearson, individual member, and Smithville Golf. Our next event is the Rise and Shine Coffee on April 5th, sponsored by Citizens for Dan Hartman, at 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then the Easter egg hunt is April 8th at 10 a.m. All the eggs are stuffed for that, so we're ready to go. We have our final meeting to make sure everything's gonna hopefully go smoothly on the 5th. Our luncheon is April 12th, sponsored by Kramer Capital. We launched our new website the 1st of March. And then I may be doing a podcast on Monday to advertise events that are going to be going on summer through fall. So if anybody's got anything specific they'd like to say, let me know. And I think that's all I've got.
What's the podcast? Is it the
So,
Joe Rogan Experience? No.
I hope.
Jake Gill, he reached out. He's a YouTuber and podcaster and wanted to know about events going on from summer to fall. And I was like, do you have a specific event? And he said, no, just everything. Okay, I'll get a list for you by Monday. So I looked him up on YouTube to just try to figure out what kind of interviews he's doing. He's been interviewing chambers of commerce around the United States and asking about specific events usually there. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to get our events out there and see what I can get promoted.
So how does the citizens find this?
The podcast, I will probably put it out on the chamber Facebook page and website.
Is that all?
I think that's all
All
I've got.
right. School district, Carol is not here, so we'll go to the chairwoman's report.
Yes, so just a reminder for everybody, the TIF commission meeting is Thursday regarding the hospital project. If anyone would like to join or watch online, watch in here, not join the commission. Reminder to vote the 4th. Is the last alderman meeting the day after that?
So it's
they
actually the day
postpone it?
before. It'll be on Monday, April 3rd.
Yes, that's right. They changed-
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. And that'll be the last one with the current
So
officials, or does it
on
change in May?
April 18th, they will certify the election results,
Okay,
and that'll
so-
be the last thing that the board will do.
Okay,
Take over.
gotcha. And then Adam and I had a really nice meeting with Gina and Jack, was it 2 weeks ago? Regarding tiny homes, or 3D printed homes. So that's kind of fun. We'll get the ball rolling on some more discussion. Sure, sure. And after that meeting, I did send an email to Shane Crease. He's one of our local Smithville developers and investors here, and he was pretty receptive to that idea. He said, obviously, it's something he'd need to look into, but he sounded kind of optimistic about some possibilities with that. So that was really cool. That is all I have.
All right. And you covered most of my updates, which is great. No, you're good. But I did want to let everyone know about on our website, and we also post it to social media, are the big takeaways from all of the Board of Aldermen meetings. So basically, anytime a development or really any kind of action that a resolution ordinance gets passed or even doesn't get passed at a Board of Aldermen meeting, we include this in an item called the big takeaways. And that really just drills down about what happened. I know we get a lot of questions about what's development progress, what's going on with this, and those big takeaways kind of give that really quick update for you guys in case you're interested in that.
Those
and-
also go out in emails too, which is really
Yes.
nice. if you
Yeah,
miss it
so we
online.
email them out. And then we do have an e-waste event coming up. It will be on Saturday, April 8th, and that will be at the high school. And so that is shredding. So if you have any papers you need to get rid of, it will be shredded on site. And then e-waste, oh, go ahead. Shredding and e-waste. So if you have like a TV, computer, any kind of electronic, they will take it. There is a fee associated and all that can be found on the city's website. But the shredding is free. Yeah. Do you want to save that for when we talk about the discussion items? Okay. All right. So our next item, I probably should include this in my staff report, but we have an opening. Jason Hoyt is no longer a member of the EDC. He posted his notice, but it got kind of lost in the transition of Anna's email got disabled, so it got lost in the email verse of Microsoft. So he's no longer a member. So we have a vacancy and he was currently serving as vice chair. So we'll just need to hold an election for the new vice chair. So is there any nominations?
Shouldn't we wait till we have maybe more? Is
That's
that
fine.
something we
Yeah,
can
maybe we
delay?
could table that. I was gonna, and I meant to mention also in my report that we did have 2 applicants that submitted online, but we reached out to them and haven't heard back. So
Yeah.
we did try.
Yeah, so if you know anyone who's interested in joining the EDC, we are reviewing those applications when they come in, and Alicia and I will meet with them for an interview and make a recommendation to the mayor. We normally ask for at least a resume.
So do we need to vote to table the vice chair election? Okay. All in favor of tabling the vice chair election, say aye.
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 All right, and then next we have our discussion items. Feel free to do this in any order. So if Adam, you want to share?
So we had a chance to meet with Jack and go over, because I was talking about like 3D printed homes and he's on board with it. And it's just, he said when it comes up for review, like when they do their planning and zoning, they'll definitely like incorporate it if it makes sense. And then he basically let us know that, you know, the town's already zoned for a lot of this stuff, like small homes, tiny homes, pocket neighborhoods, like, you know, if you go and look at the zoning on the land use maps, you'll have like B1 and then it's also R1 through, you know, R1 through 3B or something. So that's like multi-use zoning. So we don't really have to do anything on that front. What I think he could use probably help on is he's only one person. And he probably could use some help with tactically accomplishing some of these things. And I think that is where we could be of a benefit to him. And I did have a couple of ideas on how we might be able to kind of divide and, you know, I won't say divide and conquer, but we could divide the workload to be more efficient. If y'all want to hear what I'm thinking. So at the very back of the comprehensive plan, there are various implementation matrices, right? So the company who did this, I assume we paid them a lot of money to do it. They already provided like a how-to. So what I was thinking is that we could all kind of take a look and see what makes sense and for what projects you might want to take on by looking at like, so 7.1 is diverse housing and neighborhood options. And then underneath that, there's all these different implementation items that we could possibly be like, oh, I think maybe I could, you're not going to tackle all of them. But if we each of us pick one or two to work on, we might be able to just slowly but surely start crossing them off the list. So one is diverse housing and neighborhood options. That's one of the pillars. So this is mostly residential, and there's things like strengthening the neighborhoods across the city, encourage walkability and connectivity in residential areas, new residential development near Smithville's downtown. And so there's also 7.2, which is strengthen business and economic development implementation matrix. Prioritize a vibrant downtown. And so for some of these, they might actually they're things you're already doing, right? You're kind of already doing a lot of this, but if we can just zero in on the specifics, what they're saying, like one of them is wayfinding, we're doing that, right? So I think we should be using this matrix and then maybe record what we're accomplishing. So that way, when citizens are like, what are y'all doing? We can actually go and have metrics to show like, well, look, in the last 2 years, we've accomplished BE 1.1, enhance downtown's connection through wayfinding, check, right? Build residential homes if that gets done, check. And then there's the other one is small town feel, sense of community implementation matrix. And there's a bunch of things under there as well. And then I think the fourth one's enhanced recreation and connectivity. And each one of these just has their own, oh no, one more, continued commitment to education. And they all have little, if you had a chance to look at it, it's in the back. But I think that would be where I think we could go with roles and responsibilities is if we each kind of just take a little piece of the pie, we might be able to bite more than if we just try to take the whole pie at once. So that's what I was thinking. So thoughts?
One thing, okay, well, a couple things. So I did think it was interesting, and I had heard this before, but forgot that Jack mentioned that our comp plan had the highest participation rate in the region. So when I hear people saying that, that's not what we want, but that's what our survey with the I-rate said. Also, as far as apartments, there is a 6-story max on them, and they'd like to stay under 4 stories due to the fire equipment, which is good to know. And I do have it down that in 2021, they updated the code to allow for 3D printed homes, maybe, or
Yeah.
it's
The IBC did.
The IBC
Okay,
did,
yes,
but
that's right.
we
not
don't update
ours.
every year, yeah.
That's right. Okay, perfect.
And there's logistical issues with that in terms of training, like,
Yes.
because it's from what I read, it's like a private, like there's finally a private company who's been certified to do inspections.
Oh, okay.
But you obviously, that's an increased cost upfront for the town because you're gonna have to send your inspectors and then also they probably have to run workshops with local developers who may not be familiar. So there is a cost associated with probably this particular zoning update, where there might not be with others.
Right, and it kind of gives time for other communities to try it out, and if there's any kind of changes, it gets
Right.
figured out before we officially adopt it. So that's why there's a little bit of lag time with that.
That makes sense.
And I was gonna update, so Myra Toothman, she is the assistant to the Public Works Director. She's worked really hard to make a dashboard for the comprehensive plan. So right now we're reviewing that internally as staff. But basically our whole goal is to get this on the website, and it be more interactive
Ooh, I love that.
and you can see the progress. And it's gonna be really cool, just so it's more of a kind of live update of where the city's at on the progress.
Do you know the software they're using? Is it Tableau? Because I'm familiar with Tableau.
So we're currently using Microsoft Excel. So it's more of, she's made this dashboard and it looks really good. So we're excited.
Just on Excel, it's not connected to a web.
It is not web-based currently. We've talked about Microsoft BI at certain points. But right now it's just on Excel.
Okay, well, if you all are interested, I have a wealth of knowledge in my work group that I work with. I work for an information management team, and one of the people on my team, all he does is dashboards. They use the Tableau platform, but they're also familiar with Power BI. So if you all do want to look into that, I could probably get like how to do it on the cheap from people I work with and just provide that knowledge.
All right.
So,
Can you, Adam, remind, for the rest of the group, describe the Agra hoods? Because I thought that was a really cool thing.
okay, so you know how we'll say in the 80s, the big thing is like, let's build communities around golf courses. Well, turns out millennials and Gen Z are not too keen on golf courses. They take up a lot of space. They are very environmentally intensive. And one of the other options for a similar type of development like that is instead of it being based around a golf course, it's be based around a community supported agriculture. So everybody is like part of an HOA, and a part of your HOA fees are you pay fees for farmers to come in and take care of a plot of like farmland in the middle of the community. And then obviously they encourage everyone in the community to go out as well because it's a community garden. And then has anyone been a part of a CSA? Have you ever done a community supported agriculture with like a small farmer? So normally the way it works is you pay an upfront cost at the beginning of the season. So you pick how much money you want for vegetables. So you say, all right, I'm going to do $300 this year. And then basically what happens is as your produce comes in, you get emails telling you what's available. So this week we have radishes and tomatoes and carrots, and then you let them know how much you want. And it comes out of your account, right? So you go up, pick up your stuff, comes off your account, and then that's what you do for the season. And it's different because you're not going and picking out what you want. You're eating what is available in the season, right? So, it's environmentally more friendly because you're not, getting Argentinian plums in December, right? So there is a lot of interest in it from younger generations. They're just kind of more interested in that than in like golf courses, but the concept's the same. It's, instead of just being around a golf course, you're more of just a farm really, or a giant community garden. But the name's terrible. Agri-hood. I don't like it. So we think of something better, It's not trademarked. It's a colloquialism that tries to describe something like this, but we come up with something different. It's like neighborhood, but it's agricultural based, so the agri-hood just doesn't sound good. That's basic gist about it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Well, I think so. Out here in the Midwest, it was picking up steam in New England. So, but this is farm country. And I got to tell you, I thought there'd be more small, like farm stuff. So I was a little surprised that it's not as, like I thought there'd be people selling corn, like on every street corner, but not so much. Yeah. What does everyone think about like how we want to split that up? I mean, there's already stuff on there for you, be easy for you. I think there's some chamber stuff in there about, relationships. You might have already done it. We could just at least check it off our matrix and take credit for the work that we're doing.
Everyone we should look at and then share their flight.
Yeah.
That way, instead of jumping in, guessing, that way we can see what we feel more comfortable in.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's what I was saying is I don't think, well, at the very, very end, they broke it down. It's a lot. And they have priorities. So like Appendix B2 on the implementation actions by priority, there's high priority, moderate priority, and then low priority. So the question is like, do we go through it and be like, well, it's the high priority, but high priorities could be tough, right? So then it's a question of, do you go for the big high priority, which might be a lot of work, or do we strategically maybe knock off the low priorities because those could be low hanging fruit? Like that's a discussion we would want to have as a team to maybe go through all of them one meeting and kind of look and be like, what do we think we could do within 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? And then that way we could, this is just consultant suggestion, but you know, we also have to operate within the real world with volunteers who aren't getting paid, who have limited time to do things. We could decide which ones we think we would be able to do and then focus on those. Yeah, it's on the, oh yeah, I have everything electronic.
Marv.
Create a matrix like that.
Yeah.
Pass everybody that would go down like that.
Yeah.
At the next meeting.
Just make sure your mic is on whenever you talk. And I will say for the last meeting, I did include kind of a spreadsheet that had all of the ones pertaining to the EDC. So I'm happy to pull those matrices so we can look at it a little bit more in depth.
Is that the same as the, like the B2? Are they different?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, so basically I just pulled it into a spreadsheet and just had it all together. So then you wouldn't have to flip back and forth.
Does it have like every single matrix on here or is it?
So it
selected?
just has, I'm trying to look at the packet from last time. So it has BE 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then on the next page from the last packet, it breaks down all of the relevant action items. So I can send that
Yeah, could you
out
send that out?
again. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. But it would be up to the board to decide our priorities, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so we could adjust the matrix as we feel we need it or feel we can accomplish.
Right. However you guys, want to do this tactically, that makes sense, as long as it's achieving the
As long as it
goal
sticks to
set.
the goals. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest issue we had when we were talking about the last meeting, like what do we do? And to a degree, it's true. I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing on this committee now for almost a year and a part of me is like, what am I doing? You know, I don't mind volunteering, but I don't do well with meetings that don't accomplish anything.
Right.
It's not my jam. So at the end of a meeting, I want to feel like there's been some type of progress. Otherwise I start to get a little, what am I doing? Why am I here?
Mhm.
So I think if we could kind of get ourselves some priorities and some direction, then we could start to do some stuff. And I'd like to throw out there, I'm possibly interested in industrial, in manufacturing. If no one else is interested in that, it's piqued my interest.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and part of the agenda tonight too was just a follow-up discussion from last time. We kind of identified the short-term goals, which was the pursuing tourism. And the long-term goals was land use and airport redevelopment. So that kind of came out of that discussion that we had.
What does that mean though, the airport redevelopment?
So it's part of the.
I know they redeveloped the airport, but I keep hearing about like, oh, it's
Right.
a new terminal. It's gonna bring all, and it's like, okay, I mean, maybe I get that, but it's like, how many more people are gonna be coming to Smithville because the Kansas City Airport has a new terminal?
It was just identified in the
Okay.
comp plan
In the comp
specifically.
plan, what they were suggesting more than anything else was that now that you have one here, what can we capitalize on them? We're not that far away. Is there something here that we could
okay.
bring in? It may not be the tourists coming in there or just somebody coming to Kansas City. It's what kind of companies here this close to the airport may need, could
Okay.
use that.
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily like consumers.
No.
Okay.
But yes, but no. It's all about the money.
Oh. I dropped my mother off there. It seemed fine. It looked like a airport. But it's a big deal. The single terminal is obviously a big deal.
Hot topic.
Another option, if we didn't want to use a matrix, is we could do it by character area. That was another thing I was thinking of. There's 5 specific character areas in town, the north, downtown, Hospital Bluffs, and then south of 169. But I feel like that might there's too many projects that could be ongoing in each one of those, so it might be better to drill down more specifically.
I agree.
That's all I got.
you know, I'm thinking. So yeah, I guess if we, do we want to assign, I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna want industrial or be upset that they didn't get it. If we want to go ahead and say, okay, Adam's taking that tonight.
I figured we could wait. I mean, we don't have a full committee.
Yeah.
So maybe we should wait and bring this up again and get other people's feedback.
We can still talk, we can start talking over the internet, email with it. I
Mhm.
mean, once you send this out, sit down there. and-
Well, we want to be careful about email.
Cool.
So once we get into chain emails, it's an issue with Sunshine. Yeah, but since we're meeting monthly now, I think we'll get some good momentum with
Mhm.
that.
At least send it out that way. We have,
Yeah,
take your, make it a note to come here prepared
Right,
with what you're looking at, what you're wanting to do, as
right.
opposed to us deciding then.
Maybe identify your first, second, and third choice.
there we
And two,
go.
I mean, it's not like it has to be individualized. We could team people up too if they're more comfortable working
Or
with a
if you have
couple
somebody you
people.
can recommend,
Right,
like
Right.
that, like Adam.
And, and I'm not quite sure how the ad hocs work with that. Like, I don't know if it's appropriate to be asking the school and the chamber. So you'd have to tell me, because I know it's different, right? Like the rest of us are kind of appointed, but they're
Mhm.
here due to their position,
right.
correct?
It's being a liaison.
yeah.
Like you're always going to need someone from the chamber and you're always going to need someone from the school, and who else? We have one more, right? Is that just the two?
Yeah, and then city staff.
Yeah, so I wouldn't feel comfortable like telling you what you're supposed to be doing, because it's not, I don't think it's this. Well,
So I think
So I don't
they
know. I
come
don't
in
think- I don't know if
more
it's
from like
different.
the research perspective, or they can give updates on what they're already
Okay.
doing to support. Especially like, part of it is the tourism, all the events that we're doing. Those are the kind of things that Erica could give updates on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
or like work with Metropolitan Community College to initiate a study of their capacity to provide services, meeting, I guess, Carol could do that.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying is, they should stay in what they're supposed to, like, you can be like, hey, Carol, why don't you go look at housing? Like, she's here to represent the school, so it
Right.
makes sense that she would stick with like the education part of it.
Right.
And you're an alderman. I don't think we can tell you to do anything. You're kind of here to just make sure that everything's up and up. But if you wanted to volunteer, that'd be up to you.
I can always volunteer
Okay.
information, suggestions, stuff like that. I
Sure.
gotta-
Yeah.
Gotta watch that.
But I was thinking more of the appointed
Right.
members would take on most of what I've been discussing. I just wanted to clarify that.
So I guess you don't really have any action to take on that tonight. Right? Just tabling it for next week. Or next month, sorry. I don't have anything else then. If anybody has any new business? No. Are we good to adjourn then? Does anybody have anything else they want to add? No. Okay, motion to adjourn, anyone?
What's the proper terminology again? The first person just had a brain
Oh,
freeze.
yeah, just to make a motion to.
Make a motion,
To adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned.
We're gonna vote.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Geez, what is my problem?
Me too.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're good now.
Here we go.